This is mine.
This is mine.
What are you guys doing back there? Do you even know what you're doing?
Quit moving. Of course. Quit
Well,
moving.
you're pulling on my hair.
That's all that we're doing.
I gotta separate it.
Psychos
Three.
don't care.
Stop it. I have not done anything yet. And it's supposed to be quick.
I've not done anything either. Actually, no, I have
Even
done
this is
something, but
actually
I'm not
gonna
going
be
to say
the
what
worst.
I've done.
Even this is the worst spread I've ever done. Oh wow, you just took that from me. You know what? That's fine. You can turn around and show off what we've done. Absolutely nothing. No, we should pretend that we did this.
Welcome to the Kids World podcast.
Welcome. Episode number 9 for you today. Well, I don't want to put a number on it, so you can go over me and be like, burp, and then the number 8, right, over my face or something.
Well, as you all know, my name's Abbott. This is...
And if you knew, you got it right. And if you didn't, it's Josiah. So.
And this is my guest, Abby.
Hi, Abby.
Hi.
Got
Also known
right out of
as
the backyard
Pastor
again.
Abby.
Reverend Abby.
Reverend Abby.
Reverend Abigail, if you're my male.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
It doesn't say on my mail. It just says R.
We're not on a middle name basis.
Reverend Abigail R.
Her middle name is R.
Okay.
What's your middle name?
That's your hint.
My middle name is N.
N.
What? Mine's T. Anyway.
Now you guys can guess what our middle names are.
Yeah, leave a comment on this video if you think it's Nick or something. I don't know.
Maybe in episode 100, you'll get to know everyone's middle names.
Comment what you think my middle name is.
We're not on that level yet, but we can be. Stick around.
Anyways.
Okay, you brought a guest. I
Yep.
brought a scripture if you guys want to go right through. So if you're new here, what we do is we go through the SOAP method together as a team. We tag team the Bible verses here, and we would love if you would join our team and follow along with us, okay? So I brought a verse today. Actually, I brought a few. I've pre-turned some Bibles. Okay? So first, Abby, if you want to read 2 Samuel 14:25 through 26, that would be wonderful.
All right, so it says, in all Israel, there was not a man so highly praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. From the top of his head to the soles of his feet, there was no blemish in him. Whenever he cut his hair off his head, he used to cut his hair once a year because it became so heavy for him, he would weigh it, and its weight was 200 shekels by the royal standard.
I don't even know how heavy that is, but it sounds.
That's a lot of hair.
I mean, if your hair gets heavy in 1 year, that is a lot of hair.
Yeah, he must have grown hair really fast, too. Also,
I can't grow
I
hair
love
that
how
fast.
the Bible made note to mention how handsome he is. I think that's a
Yes.
very funny feature.
It is funny. Sometimes they also point out when people are not handsome at all. They're
Like
they're pretty,
Jesus.
they're like, he's normal looking, so which is kind of funny.
You'll see him on the street and you won't think anything of it.
He does not look like a famous celebrity when you
Real.
walk past him.
Okay. Sometime later, by the way, this is another passage. I have pre-turned my Bible too, out of Judges chapter 16. I'm starting in verse 4 and we're going to read through verse 20, okay? Sometime later, he fell in love with the woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, "See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver." So Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me the secret to your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued." Samson answered her, "If anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, I become weak as any other man." Then the rulers of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him up with them. When the men hid in the other room, she called out to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Then Delilah said to him, "You have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come on, now tell me that you can be tied. Or tell me how you can be tied." He said, "If anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I will become weak as any other man." So Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. Then men hidden in the room, she called to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Delilah said to Samson again, "All this time you've been making a fool of me." Page turn. "And lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied." He replied, "If you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I'll become weak as any other man." So while he was sleeping, Delilah took the 7 braids of his head, wove them into the fabric, and tightened it with the pin. Again she called to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you. And he woke from his sleep and pulled the pin and the loom with the fabric. Then she said to him, "How can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength." With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it. So he told her everything. "No razor has ever been used on my head," he said, because I have been a Nazarite dedicated to God in my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become weak as any other man." When Delilah saw he had told her everything, she sent word to the rulers of the Philistines, "Come back once more, he has told me everything." So the rulers of the Philistines returned with the silver in their hands. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called for someone to shave off the 7 braids of his hair and began to subdue him, and his strength left him. She called upon him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." And he awoke from his sleep and thought, "I'll go out as before and shake myself free." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Dun dun dun! That's the end.
Kind of a cliffhanger when you end right there like that.
Yeah. So, what's next? What do you think so far of this story, Abed?
I feel like Delilah's kind of a cheater.
Yeah, I think you might get wise to it, right? If you woke up like 3 times in a row and found out she was trying to take your strength from you, you'd feel like maybe she's trying to take my strength from me and I shouldn't tell her how to do it.
Feels like Samson's pretty gullible, but I mean, it's
Definitely.
easy to say that looking from the outside, whereas I think a lot of the times we do the same things in our life. It's just our own different temptations, right? Not the same exact thing as Samson.
Why do you think it mentions long hair in the Bible? I'm going to ask Abby because she's the only one here with long hair.
Well, I don't really know why they mentioned it for the first guy, because I don't feel like it was super relevant for him, except for that maybe his long hair was part of why the Bible said to say he was so handsome. But in the case of Samson, if you read before this passage in the Bible, it talks all about how Samson's mom made a promise to God while she was pregnant with Samson, before Samson was born. And that promise consisted of a few things. There were certain things he couldn't eat, certain things he couldn't drink, and certain things he couldn't do. And the funniest one of them is definitely the certain things he couldn't do, because one of those things was cutting his hair. And even if you have long hair, you know that it's still good, usually, to cut it sometimes.
Like, yeah, you get like split ends and stuff. Yeah. You got to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. So I have long hair and I get haircuts. And you don't get them cut, all the time, because then it'll be short, but you still need haircuts.
Check me out in February on the podcast. Check me out in March. I definitely get my hair cut.
So the real reason that this is important is not because of it being hair necessarily, but because it's the promise that Samson and God had with each other.
What was Samson's biggest mistake in the verses we read?
Telling her.
Pretty simply.
And he was even smart enough not to tell her right away, right? He even was like, this seems kind of sketchy. So she must have really bothered him for him to actually tell her.
Especially
the real thing.
like as he was like, oh wait, she's with the Philistines, right? And then yet still.
I know.
But it said she annoyed him to death, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like at that point you just kind of get rid of her. You know what I mean?
You would think it would be
maybe
smarter
she's the
to
problem.
break up than to give her all your secrets.
I don't know. You can see she's not to be trusted with secrets, and yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, is it more important to be physically strong or spiritually strong?
Spiritually.
I agree. Why?
Because if you're spiritually strong, I think that if you really believe and trust God, He might be able to do the same things that He did for Samson, and He can also enable you to make you physically strong.
True.
But also, you know, if you're spiritually strong, that can help you on your way to heaven.
True. Abby?
I think being physically strong might make you feel better, right? Or cooler or whatever. But I think the real peace and the real safety you're going to feel is when you know that God is with you, right? And that He's walking with you all the time. And being spiritually strong in that way should make you feel a lot better than just, oh, I go to the gym sometimes, you know? Like, and for me, like, that's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. I feel a lot more when I am praying or reading my Bible than going to the gym or something.
And I think also they go hand in hand because I do enjoy like lifting weights and things like that, right? And there is sort of a like you have to actually be willing to go and do it, and it's not easy to do, right? And even physically painful to a point where if you're willing to sacrifice for your own growth and your own strength, I think that also translates over into the spiritual, and also vice versa too, because not only do I get some sort of like spiritual connection when I'm letting myself suffer, but also because that kind of gives you an idea of what Jesus was doing too, but also in spiritual strength as well, you can gain physically strong from it too, where I feel a lot better when I go to the gym, but I also feel a lot better when I read my Bible too, right? Not even like spiritually, but also physically. Like I can feel like that can add to my day. You know what I mean? I feel a lot stronger because of it in more than one sense. And I can at least take that with me. And they're both very, very important, but definitely spiritual strength is more important. And that's where Samson kind of was lacking. So.
And they're definitely both also very time consuming when you think about it. Like, you guys are probably in sports, you spend a lot of time practicing, if it's basketball or volleyball or soccer or whatever, but also you should be spending, hopefully, a lot of time reading your Bible, praying, and going to church. And that's why they're both kind of a sacrifice.
Yeah, they are, definitely. And if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, you're not going to build strength in those areas as well. Any last thoughts of it?
Nope.
Nope.
Pretty
Okay.
much covered it.
Pretty much covered it. What do you want to do for our application? Do you have any ideas? How are we going to apply this silly story?
I don't know.
Yeah? What if we did like rock, paper, scissors, but Samson, Delilah, and a lion? Yeah?
I think that could work.
Let's cut to that.
Ladies and chuckleheads, follow along at home if you can. I'm not sure how you would, but boys and girls, get ready for Samson, Delilah, and Lion.
I feel like calling them chuckleheads isn't very
Well,
nice.
kindness was last month.
Oh, well,
I feel like you're supposed to remember it for more than just that month.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, back to our game.
Gentlemen, I guess?
Okay, are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, it's a tie.
Oh,
It's a tie.
you did this.
Tie.
You both
It's a
were trying
tie.
to be
Don't
Delilah.
copy me, okay?
No, you
It's your
copied
fault.
me. Actually,
Okay.
no, I copied Delilah. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't
how
know. I
about
never
you
met
just
her.
try it again?
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
How you doing?
I got you.
Ooh, Delilah beats Samson, just like in the story.
I knew if I went the one in a row, I'd totally get you, okay?
Okay.
We'll do,
Okay.
we'll do 2 out of 3, and then winner faces Abby, okay?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, you guys need to stop tying. We'll be here all night playing the game.
Or Bluetoothed up, and I didn't take that phrase from anybody.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Samson beats the lion. You have to read earlier in the story to get that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we at?
It's 1-1.
1-1. Oh, man. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh.
This lion versus Delilah.
No, it was out of
Samson
Samson.
versus
Ha.
Delilah beats Samson.
Ha.
So that means Abbott wins, right?
Ha.
Yeah, I guess I'll just sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah.
I feel so much pressure about which one I'm gonna pick right now.
Yeah, you know how I felt.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I pick Samson.
I had been
I thought
told
I was gonna hit your back, and then you turned around. I just kept backing up.
I'd been told that he was a worthy opponent, and apparently I was not. I was like Samson in the story, and I didn't learn my lesson. Anyway, whenever you guys are ready, you ready? Can I get a thumbs up from both the contestants? Okay, perfect. And 3, turn around.
Stop cheating, Abbott.
Stop cheating.
Okay, fine.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Schwarzenegger.
What was that supposed to be? Samson?
Yeah.
Arnold
Well,
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold
Samson,
Schwarzenegger.
Samson beats
I
the
don't-
lion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
So that
Good
means
for you.
Abbott wins.
Cool.
I win.
Did you guys
I am
wanna
the
do 2
grand
out of 3?
champion.
No, that's okay.
No.
Okay.
We'll let Abbott be the grand champion.
I guess. I don't know if it's very convenient for you. Actually, it's a little too convenient for you to decide if it's 2 out of 3. But it's fine.
That is fair.
It's fine. You did beat me and then her, so I guess you
Yeah.
can have it.
Yeah.
How does victory
'Cause-
feel?
How'd you guys do at home?
Good. Because
You weren't able to play along? That's strange. Because it was a 1v1 competition. I didn't think that through before I did the intro. But see you guys over at prayer. That was pretty fun. You mind if I pray us out?
no.
Take it away.
You
Take it
know.
away.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I totally can. So, God, help to renew our strength both physically and spiritually. Help us to be like Samson, and that we would rely on you for our physical strength, that we could turn towards you and trust you with that, and actually invest in you that way. But unlike Samson, in that we also spend more time with our spiritual strength too, that we could turn towards you in our weakness and even in our strength, and just invest everything in you, and to actually be willing to sacrifice what it takes to build that kind of strength. And in that way, we would love to draw closer to you and what you have for us. In Jesus' name, amen. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.
See you next time. See you next month. We'll
Next
talk
month.
about a new thing. And I hope March Missions Madness went well. We'll see about that pretty soon.
I can't believe it's the end of the month already. It went so fast.
It really
by.
did. All right. See you guys next time. Bye.